Shalom Mishpachah and Havarim and all who join us here this day, this blessed day that Abba has made for us to live in, to draw closer to Him. We're now reading chapter 36 through 40 in the book of Yobelim, the book of Jubilees. Before we start, let's bow our hearts and pitch this tent with Abba Yahweh Elohim. Most beloved Abba Yahweh, we come before you most humbly to worship you, to praise you and lift up your name for all those here to call upon. We thank you, Abba, for bringing us together to fellowship in your word, to the book of Yobelim, the book of Jubilees. Please open up our eyes to see, our ears to hear, and our hearts to understand, in the way that you would have us see, hear, and understand. Please empty us of our preconceived ideas and desires, and fill us full of your Ruach HaKodesh, your spirit of dedication. We come before you that you teach us your way as you meant it to be from before the beginning, with your understanding of truth and not our own. We ask and pray in the name of Yeshua, our Adon, that is, Yahweh, our Kodesh Elohim, Yahweh Echad. Amen. And thank you for joining us here. May Yah bless you all. I've left up the glossary and the pronunciation guide for your reference. Pause the video and take a look. Now let's get comfortable and read. Chapter 36. And in the 6th year of this week, Yitzchak called his 2 sons, Esau and Yaakov, and they came to him. And he said to them, My sons, I am going the way of my fathers, to the everlasting dwelling where my fathers are. Therefore bury me near Avraham, my father, in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the Hittite, where Avraham purchased a grave to bury in. In the grave which I dug for myself, bury me there. And this I command you, my sons, that you do righteousness and uprightness on the earth, so that Yahweh may bring upon you all that Yahweh said that he would do to Avraham and to his seed. And love one another, my sons, your brothers, as a man who loves his own being, and let each seek how he may benefit his brother, and work together on the earth, and let them love each other as their own beings. And concerning the question of idols, I command and admonish you to reject them and hate them, and love them not, for they are full of deception, for those that worship them, and for those that bow down to them. Remember, my sons, Yahweh Elohim of Avraham your father, and how I too worshipped him, and served him in righteousness and in joy, and he might multiply you, and increase your seed as the stars of the Shamayim in multitude, and establish you on the earth as the plant of righteousness, which shall not be rooted out unto all the generations forever. And now I shall make you swear a great oath, for there is no oath which is greater than it, by the name esteemed and honoured and great and splendid and wonderful and mighty, which created the Shamayim and the earth and all matters together, that you shall fear him and worship him, and that each shall love his brother with affection and righteousness, and that neither shall desire evil against his brother from this time and forever, all the days of your life, so that you may prosper in all your deeds and not be destroyed. And if either of you plans evil against his brother, know that from this time on everyone that plans evil against his brother shall fall into his hand, and shall be rooted out of the land of the living, and his seed shall be destroyed from under the Shamayim, from under the heavens. But on the day of tribulation and abhorrence, and displeasure and wrath, with flaming devouring fire, as he burned Sodom, so likewise shall he burn his land and his city, and all that is his. And he shall be blotted out of the book of the instruction of the children of men, and not be recorded in the book of High, but in that which is appointed to destruction. And he shall depart into everlasting abhorrence, so that their condemnation may be always renewed in abomination and in abhorrence, and in wrath and in torment and in displeasure, and in plagues and in disease forever. I say and witness to you, my sons, according to the judgment which shall come upon the man who wishes to injure his brother. And he divided all his possessions between the two on that day, and he gave the larger portion to him that was the firstborn, and the tower and all that was about it, and all that Abraham possessed at Beresheva. And he said, this larger portion I shall give to the firstborn. And Esau said, I have sold to Yaakov, and given my birthright to Yaakov. Let it be given to him, and I have not a single word to say regarding it, for it is his. And Yitzchak said, May a berachah rest upon you, my sons, and upon your seed, this day, for you have given me rest, and my heart is not pained concerning the birthright, lest you should do wickedness on account of it. May the Most High El Barach, the man that works righteousness, he and his seed forever. And he ended, commanding them, and to barak them. And they ate and drank together before him. And he rejoiced, because there was one mind between them. And they went out from him, and rested that day, and slept. And Yitzchak slept on his bed that day, rejoicing. And he slept the everlasting sleep, and died 180 years old. He completed 25 weeks and 5 years, and his two sons, Esau and Yaakov, buried him. And Esau went to the land of Edom, to the mountains of Seir, and dwelt there. And Yaakov dwelt in the mountains of Hebron, in the tower of the land of the sojournings of his father Abraham. And he worshipped Yahweh with all his heart, and according to the visible commands, accordingly as he had divided the days of his generations. And Leah, his wife, died in the 4th year of the 2nd week of the 45th Yovel, and he buried her in the cave of Machpelah, near Rivkah, his mother, to the left of the grave of Sarah, his father's mother. And all her sons and his sons came to mourn over Leah his wife with him, and to comfort him regarding her, for he was lamenting her. For he loved her exceedingly after Rachel, her sister, died, for she was perfect and upright in all her ways, and honoured Yaakov. And all the days that she lived with him, he did not hear from her mouth a harsh word, for she was gentle and peaceable and upright and honourable. And he remembered all her deeds, which she had done during her life, and he lamented her exceedingly, for he loved her with all his heart and with all his being. Chapter 37. And on the day that Yitzchak, the father of Yaakov, and Esau died, the sons of Esau heard that Yitzchak had given the portion of the elder to his younger son Yaakov, and they were very wroth. And they strove with their father, saying, Why has your father given Yaakov the portion of the elder, and passed over you, although you are the elder, and Yaakov the younger? And he said to them, because I sold my birthright to Yaakov for a small bowl of lentils, and on the day my father sent me to hunt and catch and bring him some, that he should eat and barach me, he came with deceit and brought my father food and drink, and my father barach him and put me under his hand. And now our father has caused us to swear, he and I, that we shall not mutually devise evil either against his brother, and that we shall continue in love and in peace, each with his own brother, and not make our ways corrupt. And they said to him, we shall not listen to you to make peace with him, for our strength is greater than his strength, and we are more powerful than he. We shall go against him, and slay him, and destroy him, and his sons. And if you shall not go with us, we shall do evil to you also. And now listen to us. Let us send to Aram, and Pelesheth, and Moab, and Ammon, and let us choose for ourselves chosen men who are ardent for battle. And let us go against him, and do battle with him, and let us destroy him from the earth before he grows strong. And their father said to them, do not go, and do not make battle with him, lest you fall before him. And they said to him, this too is exactly your manner of doing from your youth until this day, and you are putting your neck under his yoke. He shall not listen to these words. And they sent to Aram and to Aduram, to the friend of their father, and they hired along with them 1,000 fighting men, chosen men of battle. And there came to them from Moab, and from the children of Ammon, those who were hired, 1,000 chosen men, and from Pelesheth 1,000 chosen men of battle, and from Edom, and from the Horites 1,000 chosen fighting men, and from the Kittim mighty men of battle. And they said to their father, go out with them and lead them, or else we shall slay you. And he was filled with wrath and displeasure on seeing that his sons were forcing him to go before, to lead them against Yaakov his brother. But afterward he remembered all the evil which lay hidden in his heart against Yaakov his brother, and he remembered not the oath which he had sworn to his father and to his mother, that he would plan no evil all his days against Yaakov his brother. And notwithstanding all this, Yaakov did not know that they were coming against him to battle, but he was mourning for Leah, his wife, until they approached very near to the tower with 4,000 warriors and chosen men of battle. And the men of Hebron sent to him, saying, see, your brother has come against you to fight you, with 4,000 girded with their swords. And they carry shields and weapons, for they loved Yaakov more than Esau. So they told him, and Yaakov was a more generous and kind man than Esau. But Yaakov would not believe until they came very near to the tower. And he closed the gates of the tower, and he stood on the rampart and spoke to his brother Esau, and said, noble is the comfort with which you have come to comfort me for my wife who has died. In this the oath that you swore to your father and again to your mother before they died, you have broken the oath, and on the moment that you swore to your father, you were condemned. And then Esau answered and said to him, neither the children of men nor the beasts of the earth have an oath of righteousness, which in swearing they have sworn forever. But every day they plan evil one against another, and how each may slay his adversary and foe. And you hate me, my children, and I forever. And there is no observing the tie of brotherhood with you. Hear these words which I declare to you. If the boar can change its skin and make its bristles as soft as wool, or if it can cause horns to sprout forth on its head like the horns of a stag or of a sheep, then shall I observe the tie of brotherhood with you. And if the wolves make peace with the lambs, so as not to devour or to do them violence, and if their hearts are toward them for good, then there shall be peace in my heart towards you. And if the lion becomes the friend of the ox, and makes peace with him, and if he is bound under one yoke with him and ploughs with him, then shall I make peace with you. And when the raven becomes white as the stork, then know that I have loved you and shall make peace with you. You shall be rooted out, and your sons shall be rooted out, and there shall be no peace for you. And when Yaakov saw that he was evilly disposed towards him with his heart and with all his being, so as to slay him, and that he had come leaping like the wild boar which comes upon the spear, that pierces and kills it, and does not recoils from it. Then he spoke to his own and to his servants, that they should attack him and all his companions. Chapter 38. And after that Yahudah spoke to Yaakov his father, and said to him, Bend your bow, father, and shoot your arrows, and bring down the adversary, and slay the enemy, and may you have the strength. For we shall not slay your brother, for he is such as you, and he is like you. Let us give him respect. Then Yaakov bent his bow and shot the arrow and struck Esau his brother and slew him. And again he shot out an arrow and struck Adoram the Aramean on the left breast and drove him backward and slew him. And then the sons of Yaakov went forth, they and their servants, dividing themselves into companies on the four sides of the tower. And Yahudah went out in front, and Naphtali and Gad with him, and 50 servants with them, on the south side of the tower. And they slew all they found before them, and not one of them escaped. And Levi and Dan and Asher went out on the east side of the tower, and 50 with them. And they slew the fighting men of Moab and Ammon, and Reuven and Yissachar and Zebulun went out on the north side of the tower, and 50 men with them, and they slew the fighting men of the Pelashites. And Shimon and Binyamin and Hanok, Reuven's son, went forth on the west side of the tower, and 50 with them, and they slew of Edom and of the Horites 400 men, mighty warriors, and 600 fled. And 4 of the sons of Esau fled with them, and left their father lying slain, as he had fallen on the hill which is in Aduram. And the sons of Yaakov pursued after them to the mountains of Seir, and Yaakov buried his brother on the hill which is in Aduram. And he returned to his house, and the sons of Yaakov pressed hard upon the sons of Esau in the mountains of Seir, and bowed their necks, so that they became servants of the sons of Yaakov. And they sent to their fathers whether they should make peace with them or slay them. And Yaakov sent word to his sons that they should make peace. And they made peace with them, and placed the yoke of servitude upon them, so that they paid tribute to Yaakov and to his sons always. And they continued to pay tribute to Yaakov until the day that he went down into Mitzrayim, into Egypt. And the sons of Edom have not released from the yoke of servitude, which the 12 sons of Yaakov had imposed on them until this day. And these are the sovereigns that reigned in Edom before any sovereign reigned over the children of Israel in the land of Edom. And Balak, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhavar. And Balak died, and Yovav, the son of Zerah of Botzrah, reigned in his place. And Yovav died, and Husham of the land of Taman reigned in his place. And Husham died, and Hadad, the son of Bedad, who slew Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his place. And the name of his city was Awith. And Hadad died, and Samlah from Masrekah reigned in his stead. And Samlah died, and Shaul of Rehoboth Nahar reigned in his place, and Shaul died. And Baal Hanan, the son of Achbor, reigned in his place. And Baal Hanan, the son of Achbor, died, and Hadar reigned in his place. And the name of his wife was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. These are the sovereigns who reigned in the land of Edom. Chapter 39. And Yaakov dwelt in the land of his father's sojournings in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Yaakov, and Yosef was 17 years old when they took him down into the land of Mitzrayim, and Potiphar, a eunuch of Pharaoh, the chief of the guard, brought him. And he appointed Yosef over all his house. And the Berachah of Yahweh came upon the house of the Mitzrite on account of Yosef, and Yahweh prospered him in all that he did. Wow. And the Mitzrite committed all into the hands of Yosef, and he saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh prospered him in all that he did. And Yosef's appearance was handsome, and his appearance was good-looking, and his master's wife lifted up her eyes and saw Yosef, and she loved him and pleaded with him to lie with her. But he did not surrender his being, and he remembered Yahweh, and the words which Yaakov his father used to read from among the words of Avraham, that no man should commit whoring with a woman who has a husband, that for him the punishment of death has been ordained in the Shamayim before the Most High El, and the sin shall be recorded against him in the everlasting books continually before Yahweh. And Yosef remembered these words, and refused to lie with her, and she pleaded with him for a year, but he refused and would not listen. But she embraced him and held him fast in the house in order to force him to lie with her, and closed the doors of the house and held him fast. But he left his garment in her hands and broke through the door and fled from outside her presence. And the woman saw that he would not lie with her, and she accused him in the presence of his master, saying, Your every servant whom you love sought to force me so that he might lie with me. And it came to be, when I lifted up my voice, that he fled and left his garment in my hands when I held him, and he broke through the door. And the Mitzrites saw the garment of Yosef and the broken door, and heard the words of his wife, and threw Yosef into prison, into the place where the prisoners were kept, whom the sovereign imprisoned. And he was there in the prison, but Yahweh gave Yosef favor in the sight of the chief of the prison guards, and compassion before him. And he saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all that he did to prosper. And he gave all matters into his hands. And the chief of the prison guards knew of naught that was with him. For Yosef did all, and Yahweh perfected it. And he remained there 2 years. And in those days Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, was wroth against his 2 eunuchs, against the chief cupbearer and against the chief baker. And he put them in confinement in the house of the captain of the guard, in the prison where Yosef was kept. And the captain of the prison guards appointed Yosef to serve them, and he served before them. And they both dreamed a dream, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and they told it to Yosef, and as he interpreted to them, so it befell them. And Pharaoh restored the chief cupbearer to his office, and the baker he slew, as Yosef had interpreted to them. But the chief cupbearer forgot Yosef in prison, although he had informed him what would befall him, and did not remember to inform Pharaoh how Yosef had told him, for he forgot. Chapter 40. And in those days Pharaoh dreamed 2 dreams in one night concerning a scarcity of food, which was to be in all the land. And he awoke from his sleep and called all the interpreters of the dreams that were in Mitzrayim, and magicians, and told them his 2 dreams, but they were not able to declare. And then the chief cupbearer remembered Yosef, and spoke of him to the sovereign, and he brought him out from the prison, and he told his 2 dreams before him. And he said before Pharaoh that his 2 dreams were one. And he said to him, 7 years of plenty shall come over all the land of Mitzrayim, and after that 7 years of scarcity of food, such as a scarcity of food as has not been in all the land. And now let Pharaoh appoint overseers in all the land of Mitzrayim, and let them store up food in every city throughout the days of the years of plenty. And there shall be food for the 7 years of scarcity of food, and the land shall not perish through the scarcity of food, for it will be very severe. And Yahweh gave Yosef favor and kindness in the eyes of Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to his servants, We shall not find such a wise and discerning man as this man, for the spirit of Yahweh is with him. And he appointed him the 2nd in all his reign, and gave him authority over all Mitzrayim, over all of Egypt, and caused him to ride in the 2nd chariot of Pharaoh. And he clothed him in fine linen garments, and he put a gold chain upon his neck, and proclaimed before him, El wa abir and he placed a ring on his hand, and made him ruler over all his house, and magnified him, and said to him, Only on the throne shall I be greater than you. And Yosef ruled over all the land of Mitzrayim, and all the princes of Pharaoh, and all his servants, and all who did the sovereign's business loved him. And he walked in uprightness, for he was without pride and arrogance, and he had no respect of faces, and did not accept bribes, but he judged all the people of the land in uprightness. And the land of Mitzrayim was at peace before Pharaoh because of Yosef, for Yahweh was with him, and gave him favour and kindness for all his generations before all those who knew him and those who heard concerning him. And Pharaoh's reign was well ordered, and there was no adversary and no evil one. And the sovereign called Joseph's name Safnath Paneah, and gave Joseph as wife a daughter of Potiphar, the daughter of the priest of On, the captain of the guard. And on the day that Joseph stood before Pharaoh, he was 30 years old. And in that year Yitzchak died. And it came to be, as Joseph had said in the interpretation of his 2 dreams, accordingly as he had said it, there was 7 years of plenty over all the land of Mitzrayim. And the land of Mitzrayim produced abundantly 1 measure to 1800 measures. And Joseph gathered food into every city until they were full of grain, until they could no longer count and measure it for its multitude. And that, my Havarim, is the end of chapter 40. Abundance in Yahweh. Misfortune is not always what it appears to be. Let's be encouraged by these stories. As his children, to trust in Abba Yahweh Elohim with great expectation and hope, knowing he is true to his own nature and character. Kawah, wait patiently, immersed in the word, and constantly in spiritual prayer, washing and bathing and growing in the light of his truth. His plans always come to fruition, haven't you noticed, in your own life? Most beloved Abba Yahweh, thank you for opening up our eyes, ears and hearts to a more fuller way of understanding your word. Thank you for sending us the Comforter, your Ruach HaKodesh, to help us understand your word. And thank you for changing us from the inside and growing us in our understanding and ability to live within the boundaries you set for our good. Thank you for loving us before we loved you. Now, I've always find that amazing, Father. Thank you so very much for turning us about and yoking us to you. Please keep us firmly yoked to you all the days we walk and on into everlasting. We submit ourselves to you this day and every day, Father. Every day you create for us to recognize you in. You are our rock, our strength, our guidance, and everything we hope for. Thank you for your Kodashah and for grafting us into your olive tree. Please enable us to produce fruit of the vine that is pleasing to you. Take away all our desires of the flesh and fill us full, absolutely full, of desires for you, our true Father. Through Yeshua I pray. Yeshua, our Kodesh Adon. Through Yeshua in Yahweh. Yahweh. So Kodesh. Great in Kodeshah. Yahweh Echad. Amen. Okay, Havarim. We have 2 videos left to complete this book, the book of Yobelim. All praise and glory to our Kodesh Elohim. Stay in the word, everybody, watching the signs of these blessed times that he's made for us to walk in, and waiting for our salvation to come. Pray for Israel and the whole world in such turmoil. Israel's our fig tree. We're to watch the fig tree. So much confusion everywhere. I hope we get it right. We're bound to get it right because he will get it right. And he'll change everything and untwist the twisted and show the light. He'll dispel the darkness with the light. I'll see you soon here or there. Much ahav and hedwa mishpacha and havarim, all who are our family and friends through Yeshua in Yahweh. May you all have everything you need to be whole and complete. Shalom.
I hear the farmers crying, kingdom come. I see the horrifying things we've done. I want to go way down by the end of the road, all the way to kingdom come. Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy will be done on earth, oh hear me pray. Give us this day. Let our needs get met along the way. And most of all I pray you, let your kingdom come. Yeah, kingdom All our brightest dreams are shadowed by the darkness of the night. I keep watching the horizon for the slightest hint of light.